Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Elevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. I'm Joe Everett, bringing you today's farm news. It's a chilly start to the day here at the farm with temperatures sitting at 27 degrees this morning. Thanksgiving is behind us, and it's clear that winter has arrived with snow covering much of the Buckeye State. We'll have your full forecast coming up shortly. A quick calendar reminder, tune in tomorrow as we have our monthly check-in with Farm Credit Mid-America. We will have the Fight the Hunger, Stock the Trailer results. While the Trump administration anticipates it will be ready to announce an aid package for American farmers within 2.5 weeks, as well as a deal on Chinese soybean purchases. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins made the announcement this week, but did not provide further details. Reuters reported that the administration has said for months it would issue assistance for U.S. farmers ravaged by low crop prices and trade disputes. We'll have an announcement probably within the next week or two on what that's going to look like, Rollins told CNBC. But AgWeb's monthly monitor found a divided view on the benefits of trade aid. Economists responding to the monitor agreed on two things. One is that U.S. agriculture has become too reliant on ad hoc payments. They say repeated aid packages distort land values, cash rents, equipment purchases, and overall decision-making. Number two is that they all agree that aid payments will keep fertilizer prices high. Well, Deere & Company is signaling a tougher road ahead for the U.S. farm economy. The equipment giant issued a weaker-than-expected forecast for 2026, and Bloomberg reports the stock fell more than 5% on the news. Deere says ongoing uncertainty around tariffs and global trade continues to cloud the outlook, even after China resumed buying some U.S. commodities. The company expects net income next year between $4 and $4.75 billion, well below the $5.3 billion analysts were looking for, and also lower than the just finished year of $5 billion in earnings. Deere says softer demand and caution among farmers are contributing to the slowdown. CEO John May believes 2026 will likely mark the bottom of the current ag cycle, suggesting a potential turning point could follow as conditions stabilize. Stay tuned. We'll be back with today's weather next here on the Ohio AgNet.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Attention farmers, Jim and Jody Johnson are retiring and their premium equipment is heading to Purple Wave's December 30th Ag Auction. Don't miss their 2024 John Deere ExactEmerge 1775 NT Planter and 2019 John Deere S760 Combine. This retirement auction features well-maintained machinery that's been part of a successful farming operation with equipment located in Osage, Iowa. Everything sells. Absolute no reserve to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com for details. Purple Wave Auction, straight, simple, sold.
You're tuning in on the Ohio AgNet. Today's weather brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Mother Nature telling us it's winter again. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. A fast-moving weather system came together over the eastern Corn Belt overnight last night, and we're waking up to snow flying everywhere here this morning. We actually had a northern branch and a southern branch of this weather system come together over Ohio. So if you are in south central, the far southeastern parts of the state, I won't rule out some rain mixing in with the precipitation here this morning. There is a warmer air surge down south. Not getting into much of Ohio, but I won't rule out a little bit of rain. The rest of us dealing with snow, I think all in, all done, anywhere from a coating to 4 inches or so, depending on where you are at. But the other thing I'll need to highlight here is the fact that this thing's moving quickly. I think by early afternoon, we're seeing clearing over the western part of Ohio, and clouds will move out quickly in the east as well into this afternoon. By evening, we're looking at high pressure starting to build in, and that clears us out. So bitter cold on the way. This is an Arctic high that's going to settle in here, and we are going to be seeing multiple days of very cold temperatures. There are still some fairly strong winds coming across the Great Lakes, so in northeastern Ohio, I won't rule out some lake effect snow, but these are not winds that put snow into every free area. And as a matter of fact, I think even clouds are going to be limited to far northern tier counties of Ohio through the end of this week. Strong Arctic high pressure gives us a better chance of sunshine through the period, and the lake winds subside from a Thursday afternoon forward. Our next weather system is going to be a clipper that tries to race through likely on a Sunday. Quick dusting of snow, some clouds, and honestly, the more impressive thing that this clipper does is usher down yet another round of Arctic high pressure, so we're quite chilly to start next week. Snow's popping up Tuesday, Wednesday, and again late next week. We just can't break out of this cold air cycle. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's check in for an update from Great Plains. Here's Dale Minyo.
Joining me is Tony Whisker. We're at Great Plains, and boy, we talk about Ohio. We've seen Great Plains in a lot of ways that's put it together a sustainable program. What would you tell Ohio producers about what you're offering now and maybe where you're going?
First, I would say thank you to the Ohio producers. Ohio producers have helped us be very successful over the years and really embraced our strategy of soil health and sustainability and really starting with a reset profile and, taking it in the whole Harvest Starts Here system from a subsoiler to finishing with a Turbomax or a Terramax for the best seed bed that you can get. So first of all, thank you for that. And second, we're not stopping. We're going to continue to develop and try to make things better and, look forward to 2026 with a new enhancement to the Turbomax and Terramax that really help keep that rolling spike in place. It's an important part of the tool. It has a job. It's not just there for looks. There's a new torsion mount that will make that a little firmer in place and really make it do a better job and smoother seed bed.
Yeah, everything you got up front doesn't work perfect until you finish it right, and apparently you found a way to modify that to get what farmers are looking for.
Yep, we have. It's going to make a great tool even better.
Great Plains, farmer fixed just for you.
Hey, thanks, Dale, for the update. Well, over the summer, Ohio's county fairs are packed with visitors, but many of those grounds are now finding new life and new revenue in the winter months. A growing number of fairs are turning to drive-through holiday light displays to boost the bottom line and keep their communities engaged year-round. In Licking County, the Hartford Independent Fair is hosting Wonderlights for the 5th straight year. In a 25-minute drive-through experience featuring more than 1 million LED lights, everything from shooting stars to dancing candy canes and giant Christmas trees. Setup begins in early October, and concerns like electricity use and road wear are handled through the fair's contract with Wonderlights. With efficient LED lighting, utility costs stay manageable. As fairs look for new ways to operate more like businesses, winter light shows are becoming a popular tool statewide, helping generate off-season income, supporting local vendors, and giving families a fun, affordable way to celebrate the holidays close to home. To learn more details and locations where lights can be found at fairgrounds around the state, you can find this full article today at ohioagnet.com. Well, Tyson Foods has recently announced the shutdown of its beef processing plant in Lexington, Nebraska. The news followed months of losses in its beef division, driven largely by the smallest U.S. cattle herd in decades. Dr. Peel, a livestock market economist with Oklahoma State University, told the Radio Oklahoma network that the move wasn't entirely unexpected. With an additional slowdown at Tyson's plant in Amarillo, Texas, Peel said the combination represents a 7,000 to 8,000 head loss per day of packing capacity, which is about 7.5 to 9% of total U.S. packing capacity. The Southern Plains region is also especially tight due to drought-related issues and the impact of the New World screwworm, which has restricted the flow of Mexican feeder cattle into the United States. Peel did say that Tyson heavily invested in updating the Amarillo facility, which means the company likely won't abandon the beef plant long term. Well, the USDA is getting caught up on export data following the government shutdown, and the latest numbers show a mixed picture for U.S. grains. Corn and wheat exports are running well ahead of last year, while soybeans continue to lag sharply behind. As of October 16th, accumulated corn exports totaled over 10.6 million metric tons. That's up 58% from a year ago. Wheat exports since June 1st reached 11.3 million tons, a 23% increase, but soybeans tell a different story. Shipments from September 1st through mid-October totaled just 6.7 million tons, down 32% from last year. Looking ahead to forward sales, the trend continues. Overseas commitments to purchase U.S. corn are up 37% at 35.36 million tons, and wheat commitments are up 22% at 16.4 million tons. Soybean commitments, however, are down 38% year over year. Overall, strong demands for corn and wheat is helping offset weaker soybean sales as the export season continues to take shape. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
Here's farmer and businessman James Wood.
We farm about 3,500 acres. There's pipelines everywhere. The contractor working on my property did not have the lines located before he began work, and it resulted on a strike on a natural gas pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse.
Never assume the location or depth of underground lines. Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety campaign.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics, well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
It's now time for today's market analysis, which is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Call 574-566-2113 for information on soybean marketing to LDC. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finish off the Monday session in the red. As a matter of fact, the only place we saw any green on the screen was in bean oil. Even Minneapolis wheat, that was stronger through a good chunk of the day, gave up the ghost in the afternoon. The end of the day, beans down 7 to 10, corn down 1 to 3, wheat in Chicago down 3 to 4, Kansas City down about a penny, Minneapolis wheat flat on the day to fractionally lower. The markets were contending with favorable South American weather through the market day yesterday. Brazilian soybean harvest will start in about 7 weeks or so, 6 weeks or so, 40 days is what they're telling me right now. Chart patterns really lost their bullish luster yesterday. There were no new daily export sales. And as we take a look at the other things out there, there was not a lot of high-stakes news that came into the marketplace. Because of that, the political risk premium that was in the market over the past few days, going back through the weak volume week last week, that just really didn't help us at all. January soybeans flirted with key chart support yesterday at and around 11.30, finishing slightly below that 2 cents. So I don't get too worked up with one close. It's going to be very interesting and key to see what happens through the day today. The Argentina crop last week was rated 82% good to excellent versus 76% in mid-November versus just 36% a year ago. The Argentine rainfall over the weekend was in a recorded range of half an inch to a little over 3, which in areas of northern Cordoba, Santa Fe, and key parts of Buenos Aires province, that sustained adequate to surplus soil moisture into the second part of the month. So this is going to be something that probably bolsters Argentina's production forecasts here over the course of the next little bit. Equally important in South America is that combines are going to be rolling across northern Brazil soy fields in those 40 days that we mentioned off the top. The very first harvest efforts are likely to begin around Christmas or so, even though we don't expect them to be a huge test of what happens overall. So overall, not much to get the market to shy away from moving down after a full contingent of traders come back after a low volume week. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight trade brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. December corn 434 up 1 1/4. March corn 445 1/2 up 1/2. As we turn to soybeans, January 1130 3/4 up 2 3/4. March soybeans 1140 3/4 up 2 3/4. And December wheat 530 1/4, no change. As we turn to livestock from yesterday's close, December live cattle 214.20 down $1.37. February live cattle 215.92 down $1.92. December lean hogs 80.22 down 37 cents. February hogs 80.30 down 70 cents. March feeder cattle $315.52, down $2.32, and April feeder cattle $314.85, down $1.77. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.